A journey always begins with a few obstacles, but for those who endure, they often succeed. Almost 80 years ago, on his second attempt, Estanislao Tijero finally boarded a ship to America. Like so many others, he began his journey from the Philippines to the big island of Hawaii. 5,500 miles of endless sea to a land of new beginnings, a land of opportunity. In Hawaii, he worked in the sugar plantations, laboring in the blazing sun to provide for his family back home in the Philippines. But more importantly, he became a pioneer, creating a pathway for his loved ones to eventually enter the land of the free. Today, I am here speaking with his granddaughter and my mother, Maria Cristobal. She recalls her experience of coming to America.
My mother and my 4 brothers and my sister arrived on March 31, 1979. And the process that I know about was that my grandfather, Estanislao, had ordered his family to reside in Hawaii with him.
Do you remember coming to Hawaii?
I don't really remember that much because I was so young that all I remember was all of a sudden we were just going to Manila and getting our health clearances. Then maybe a couple of weeks later, we were going to the airport to come to the United States.
When you first moved to Hawaii, did you ever miss the Philippines?
I don't remember missing it. There were always family members around in Hawaii, and we were very busy. My grandfather kept us busy.
Do you miss the Philippines now?
No, because Hawaii is my home now. It's a very beautiful place in the Philippines and just nice to visit.
At any point, did you ever lose your culture or language?
I remember when I was young that we would speak English in school, and then when we go home, just because that's the language that's easy to speak with. Not using Ilocano all the time at home then almost made me forget or not use Ilocano language anymore.
How did you try to get it back?
When I went to business college, I met a lot of Ilocano speaking or Tagalog speaking friends and classmates. And I wanted to speak it again, and it was fun, and I'm so glad that I'm able to retain and continue speaking Ilocano language until today.
Why didn't you ever teach me to speak Ilocano?
I thought that you might have a hard time when you started going to school, because I heard a lot of stories when Filipino kids would have a hard time adjusting.
Hearing my mother say that, I kind of understand why she didn't teach me the language. Although I grew up eating Filipino food and surrounded by Filipinos in Hawaii, I always wished I could speak the language to family and friends. But as a Filipino American, I am often yearning to understand more about my culture and where I came from. Curious to know how other Filipinos grew up in America, I spoke with Francis De Leon, Rosana Pena, and Albert Respicio. De Leon, a 20-year-old from Fullerton, California, says that growing up around a lot of Filipinos was very comforting.
I never felt like I was an outsider or like a minority in that sense, just because I was surrounded constantly by people that looked like me, talked like me, ate the food that was weird to other people.
Similarly, Respicio, a 20-year-old from Eva Beach, Hawaii, recalls going to school in Waipahu, where there is a large population of Filipinos.
When we were kids in elementary school, right, and literally everyone in our class was majority Filipino, I thought everyone was like that in school. And I looked around, most of the kids were brown like us, and I was like, whoa, so this is what the world is like? No.
Unfortunately, this isn't the case throughout the United States. Pena, a 22-year-old from Aurora, Colorado, remembers growing up in a majority white area.
I was one of the only 2 Filipinos in my grade growing up, and so whenever we would do cultural projects and stuff, I'd have a lot of fun doing them. But I guess people just assumed I was Hispanic or something else. They'd just not really know any Filipinos.
Because the Philippines was colonized by Spain for 300 plus years, many Filipinos have Spanish last names and often get misrecognized. Along with dealing with this cultural impact, Filipinos in America must also learn to navigate the identities of not only being Filipino, but also American. De Leon says being Filipino-American comes with its benefits and hardships.
It's fun in the sense that it's like different than what other people may have experienced. Like, it's a lot of stress, honestly, sometimes just because your parents are like, oh, I came here because I wanted the better future for you, and all you do is nothing in your room. And I'm just like, sorry, mom, I'm in quarantine. Like, yeah, it's a lot of like dealing with that pressure to like continue the family legacy, but also being American because you did grow up in like America. Like, I don't speak Tagalog, and I don't think I'm gonna pass that down to my kids, which like sucks. But that's just how it be sometimes.
Pena says that Filipino Americans often have to find a way to meld and embrace both cultures.
I guess just like the blend of two cultures and trying to balance both of them to, still stay true to your roots and like the ideals and the things that your older generations has given you who come from the Philippines while still, being able to assimilate that to growing up as an American.
When I asked Respicio about whether he considers himself American, he says,
Yeah, I do, but like I've learned that American, just the term American, is kind of like a blanket term. Because like the idea of America, like it's American, like the American ethos, right, is like anyone can make it in America. That's our slogan. That's like why everyone comes here. I may not be like the traditional stereotypical American, but like at the same time, like, I'm American.
He says that although he recognizes his Filipino heritage, for him, the Philippines is not the motherland.
My family comes from there, but I didn't grow up there. So like for me, this is home. Like Oahu, Hawaii, my house, like this is home. I can't really call something the motherland if I didn't grow up there, if I don't have like personal attachment. I'm bloodbound to there, yeah, but like it's not my home.
On the other hand, De Leon says,
I do consider the Philippines to be the motherland. Just because it's like, I wasn't necessarily born there, but my parents were, my grandparents were, great-grandparents were. It's also like where a lot of like the things that I grew up with came from.
Listening to these narratives, there is no solid answer of what it is like being Filipino-American. Where you live and who you grow up with plays a large part in your experience. But even though Filipinos are scattered around the U.S., we continue to celebrate our Filipino identity. Whether we remember our family's history, cook Filipino food, or even learn our parents' mother tongue during this time in quarantine, we continue to take pride in our culture. Reporting for Kapamilya Rooted in Tradition, this is Emily Cristobal from Emerson College.